Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome back or welcome in to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with an emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I am your host, Blair Parks, and this is my reaction episode to the second round of the college football playoff rankings that were unveiled about an hour and a half ago. Just kind of wanted to share with you my initial reaction and kind of recap the rankings, kind of present them to you once again, and also kind of compare that to the top 10 that I myself put together earlier this afternoon. And I gotta tell you guys, I was fairly close. Also wanted to give you just a couple of teams that I believed are both underrated, overrated, or should not be rated at all in this round of the college football playoff rankings, and to provide you, the Black and Gold family, and all of you college football fans a few talking points in hopes to get the conversation started. If this is your first time with me, thank you for checking out the channel. As always, I want to thank all of you for everything you've done for the channel, for your support, your time, your attention. Subscriptions are way up. Views are also way up. So are likes and shares. But I need more of you guys. I need your support. Let's keep the momentum going. Big Mo is on our side. I need you to click that subscribe button. And I always encourage and welcome any of your participation, your comments. I always want them here. I encourage them. This is a safe haven for all college football fans. You don't have to be a fan of the black and gold because, hey, after all, nobody's perfect. To enjoy the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I want to hear from you, all of you college football crazies. So please comment. Let's start the conversation to see what you think about the second round of the college football playoff rankings. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. All right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is just recap with you the top 10 of this round of the rankings. And kind of at the very end of that, then we'll discuss a little bit what my initial thoughts are about the updated top 10. So beginning with number 10, I got a little tongue-tied there for a second. The big tumbler of the week, if you paid attention, which I know you did, all of you college football fans, week 10 really provided us with a lot of upsets, a lot more clarity, and more things came into focus, into picture, as far as who those pretenders and contenders are. So starting off in the 10 hole, the big tumbler this week is number 10 Clemson, falling 6 spots from last week where they were ranked number 4 after that very embarrassing loss in South Bend at the hands of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Absolutely walloped Clemson. Are they officially out of the college football playoff race? I believe they are, even if they rebound and win out in the ACC, bring home the ACC chip. I still think a one-loss Clemson team is going to need a ton of help to leapfrog into the top 4. Number 9, after that epic game down in Baton Rouge in Death Valley, number 9 this week, dropping 3 spots, is Alabama. That's right, the Crimson Tide at this point are pretty much all but eliminated from this year's college football playoff race, which how many times have we been able to say that within the last decade and a half? Very few times can we state that, only after 2 rounds of the college football playoff rankings. Is it possible still for Alabama to make a run and win the SEC title? It is, but it's going to take a lot of work and help from the football gods of above. Let's continue. Number 8 from the Pac-12, up one spot from last week, are the Men of Troy, the USC Trojans, sitting comfortably at number 8. Number 7. Now, this is where I think a lot of people might be a little bit shocked or surprised. I think a lot of you folks expected them to be a little bit higher. But at number 7, up for 3 spots from last week, are the LSU Tigers after that big-time overtime walk-off win over Alabama, going for the 2-point conversion and converting. Hands down, one of, if not the best game of the year. So the LSU Tigers do move up to number 7. Number 6, the leaders in the Pac-12, undefeated within Pac-12 play. Number 6, Oregon, up 2 spots from last week's rankings. Now, number 5, the first team out. Man, what another great game we witnessed too. Not just down in Baton Rouge, but also down in Athens, Georgia. Between the hedges, we had number 1 versus number 3, reflecting last week's ranking. Number 5 is Tennessee, the former number 1 team. During last week's college football rankings unveiling, they fall 4 spots to number 5. They are now the first team out. Number 4, the big mover, and I think they should have been a little bit closer to this last week. I'm talking the TCU Horned Frogs, undefeated out of the Big 12. They move up 3 spots to number 4. They are now officially in the playoff if those invites were delivered and given out today. Number 3, moving up 2 spots after their very, very decisive victory on the road in Piscataway. Yeah, it is against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights team, but still, very, very solid victory for number 3. The Michigan Wolverines move up 2 spots from last week. Number 2, staying at number 2, even though they looked a little bit nick at Northwestern in Evanston against the Wildcats, but then again, the wind, the weather conditions were just wild all around the Big Ten footprint on Saturday. I'm talking number 2 are the Ohio State Buckeyes, spelled T-H-E. They're staying in the number 2 spot. And now the new number 1, moving up 2 spots from last week with that very, very decisive victory over former number 1 Tennessee. The defending national champions find themselves back on top. Number 1 this week are the Georgia Bulldogs. So there's your top 10, guys. All right. Now, for the most part, I'm going to say this. I was actually, and I am, very satisfied with these rankings of the top 10 overall. I really am. Because when I wrote down my top 10, it's basically almost a carbon copy, but just with a few differences here and there. So overall, I am very satisfied with it, okay? So some things that are going to be talking points. And feel free, comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let's get this conversation started between all of these fan bases within the college football playoff rankings. Is a lot of people, I think, are going to be a little bit maybe disappointed about where LSU was. Now, last week, they were number 10 in the initial college football rankings, as I stated. Number 7, they did move up. Now, they did defeat Alabama, and right now LSU is the leader in the clubhouse in the SEC West race. There still are a few games left, but right now they do have heads up. Everything is in front of LSU. But I think this is exactly where they should be, to tell you the truth. And when I look at my rankings that I did earlier this afternoon, before these were unveiled, guess what? I had LSU right at number 7 also. Here's why, okay? Now, let's say they would have knocked off undefeated Alabama. But remember, Alabama lost a couple weeks ago at Tennessee. So let's say that was Alabama's first loss of the season. Then I could see LSU maybe being in the top 6, okay? I think there was no way they could have gotten into the top 4 after this one big victory, all right? Also, too, they do have 2 losses. Don't forget that about LSU, guys. I mean, the one loss, I mean, they got absolutely dismantled and dismembered. I mean, arms ripped out, legs ripped out, heads ripped off at home against Tennessee in Baton Rouge a few weeks ago. But the other, and there's no shame in that loss. I mean, Tennessee is still a legitimate college football playoff contender, and they are. But the other loss, granted, it was week 1, but it came against, to me, an average Florida State team, which I'm going to mention the Seminoles here shortly, later on in this very special episode. So they do have 2 losses, and that Florida State loss isn't really a terrible loss, but it's not really what I would call a good loss either, okay? So I think LSU is exactly where they should be right now. And if they take care of business, if they win out and defeat Georgia, well, more than likely Georgia, or even Tennessee in the SEC title game, guess what? They're going to find themselves in the playoff, okay? Even though, quite frankly, I may not agree with that, and maybe I'll come back to this in a little bit, but if they take care of business and win out, they're going to probably be the 3 or the 4 seed, okay? So everything is still right in front and ahead within grasp for the Tigers. I think some folks think maybe Alabama should have dropped outside of the top 10. I disagree with that. I think they are still an excellent team. They are worthy of a top 10 ranking, so I think 9 where they are is exactly where they should be, because guess what, guys? I also had Alabama ranked number 9 as well. So I got that one correct also, along with the committee. The big tumbler, like I said, was Clemson after that embarrassing loss under the lights on national television against Notre Dame. They fell from number 4 to number 10. The thing is, they still have an outside shot, guys, but the ACC is just so down this season, especially, I believe it's the Coastal Division. I mean, it is just awful, okay? North Carolina, hands down, is the best team in that division, and I'm going to talk more about the Tar Heels here in a little bit as well, so if you're a Tar Heel fan, stick around, or an ACC fan in general. But I still think Clemson should have not fallen out of the top 10. Okay, they're still a very good team. They're probably still going to bring home the chip from the ACC. They could do that. So are they completely done? It's tough. I just think a one-loss Big 12 champion or a one-loss Pac-12 champion will absolutely get in over a one-loss Clemson team winning the ACC. I just think that will happen, and it is more deserved. I think the Pac-12 and Big 12 are way better conferences top to bottom than the ACC is. And also, guys, I can't disagree with that because this guy right here also had Clemson at number 10, just like the committee did. Tennessee, let's talk about number 4 TCU and number 5 Tennessee for a second, okay? Tennessee, definitely, I think they should have dropped out of number 1, which they did, but I don't think they should have fallen that much, okay? I actually had Tennessee still in the playoff field. I had them my number 4 seed earlier this afternoon. The committee put them at 5. I understand why, but I don't think you can punish the nation's best team because of one loss, and it was a very good loss. I mean, but getting down that early as they did, 21-3 at Georgia in the first quarter, basically, just they spotted them too much of a lead too early, and they never were able to get back into the game. They did make it competitive, but it still was a very one-sided victory for the Georgia Bulldogs. So I would have had Tennessee number 4 myself. That's where I had them. Still a chance to get in, but for them to win the SEC East, they're going to need a little bit of help. I mean, Georgia not only has to lose 1 game, but 2 games now, and Tennessee's going to have to win out. but that's very probable with their schedule. I believe they have South Carolina, Missouri, and Vandy, so more than likely they are going to win out. But still, in a good position for an at-large potential spot later on when the dust and smoke clears after conference championship week. TCU, finally, that's where they should have been. I think TCU maybe should have been in the top 4 after week 1. I am totally okay with them being number 4. I actually had TCU number 3, according to my projections earlier this afternoon. So I was a little bit off with TCU and Tennessee. Once again, I had TCU 3 and Tennessee number 4 in my projections. Now, Michigan. Michigan now is in the playoff field as of today. They jump up from number 5 to number 3. Some people might think this is too high. I actually think that as well. Okay, and here's why. Michigan is a very good team. There's a lot of Black and Gold family members, subscribers of the channel who are all about the maize and blue. A great team, very well balanced, but I just can't get over the fact I can't give them extra love with how soft their non-conference schedule was. And it was Charmin soft. I'm talking UConn, which actually is the best team they played now in the non-conference. UConn, Hawaii, and Colorado State. They don't have that signature non-conference victory. They just don't. So that's why I had Michigan still in the 5 hole. That's where I projected them to be. And the thing about that is it's going to play itself out. I mean, Michigan and Ohio State are on a collision course, guys. They're both going to meet up in Columbus Thanksgiving weekend undefeated. So that will be taken care of, guys. So don't get too down and out. If you're one of those who believe Michigan is just too high, they shouldn't be in the field as of now, because it's going to work itself out. All right? It is. But I did have Michigan in the 5 hole is where I had them. But no disrespect, Michigan fans. I think you are one of, if not the most balanced team in the nation. I've seen you play. But then again, the non-conference, I do hold that here. I just do. I think that has to count for something. Who do you play in the non-conference and beat, potentially? All right? I've got no problem with Ohio State remaining in the 2 slot. And Georgia, last week, they were number 3. A lot of people doubted them. And when I say a lot of people, I'm including myself as well. I think last week I justified Georgia being number 3 only because of that big, huge non-conference victory they have over Oregon, which is hands down the best victory of anybody in the non-conference portion of their schedule or of play. But wow, did they make a believer out of me? I mean, how they absolutely rose to the occasion and shut down that high-powered pace and space Tennessee offense under my Heisman Trophy frontrunner, Hendon Hooker, who I believe he still is the Heisman frontrunner at this point. Definitely with that loss, things have gotten a little bit tighter. But Georgia made a complete believer out of me, guys. I mean, those boys and Kirby Smart, they just get up for these big games. I know they struggled. They were lucky to win at Missouri and Como a few weeks ago. Didn't look all that impressive against Kent State of the MAC. But yeah, they absolutely put to rest any doubters with that very, very decisive victory over former number 1 Tennessee on Saturday. So that's the top 10. All right. Now, some other little remarks and things I want to share with you guys. As far as the rest of the top 25, I'm not going to go through them 1 through 25, 25 through 1. Just some basic thoughts that I have, and let me know what you think. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Remember, these episodes are driven by you, the college football fan, Black and Gold fans, all college football fans. Comment. Let me know what you think. Let's begin this banter, but please just keep it adult-like. That's all I ask. I've got to start off with a couple teams that I think are actually underrated in the updated CFP rankings. Number 12, UCLA sits there 8-1. Their only loss was at Oregon by 15 points, I believe. I think UCLA, are they a top 10 team? Potentially a fringe. And yes, 12 is fringe top 10. Don't get me wrong, but I think they should be in the number 11 hole where Ole Miss is. I just think UCLA has looked more impressive than the Rebels, and they have a better resume to me. They just do. So I would like to see Ole Miss and UCLA swap spots. Another underrated team, even though the ACC is down, but I did mention them, and I told you I would talk more about them. Number 15, North Carolina, who's also 8-1. I think they are absolutely underrated too. Guys and gals, if you haven't seen their quarterback, Drake May, you are missing out. This guy is an absolute stud. A man among boys, a giant among giants, all right? But his numbers right now, he's thrown for 2,964 yards, 31-3, 31 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Those are Heisman-like numbers. Don't be surprised when you check out my Thursday episode, my Week 11 preview and picks episode, where I always give you my updated Heisman Trophy shortlist and candidates. Don't be surprised if you see on that episode quarterback Drake May now on my short list of Heisman hopefuls. The boy can absolutely ball out. I mean, they are hands down the best team in that division of the ACC. I mean, good victories. I mean, yeah, they lost to now a ranked Notre Dame team, and I'll get to the Fighting Irish as I promised here in a little bit. But I think North Carolina is also underrated, guys. Let me know what you think about that. Now, I've got one overrated team, okay? And that is the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, all right? Yes, they scored a huge win Saturday over previously number 4 Clemson. I mean, absolutely embarrassed them. Kind of exposed those boys for who they are. Notre Dame, though, is currently 6-3. Okay, is that a big win? Absolutely it is. And they do have a win also over previously mentioned North Carolina. So Notre Dame wow, proper English now. I do my own stunts, guys. So Notre Dame does have 2 excellent victories, right, over Clemson and North Carolina. But I can't get over their losses, guys. They lost to Marshall in week 2. Yeah, they're an average, I'd say average at best Sun Belt team. They lost to Marshall in week 2 in South Bend. Marshall's not first or second even in their division of the Sun Belt currently. And then they lost also in South Bend to Stanford, who coming into that game was 1-4. I mean, now they're 3-6, but still, those are awful losses, guys, and I'm tired of kind of seeing this happen. And it happens each and every year with the committee, guys. It seems like the committee, they put good victories, solid, impressive victories, so much more at a higher level than awful, terrible, damning losses. They have to be about equal, right? They have to be. It's not just about who you beat, but also who you lost to. And those 2 losses for Notre Dame are awful, awful losses. Yes, the other loss is against number 2 Ohio State, so there's no shame in that, okay? Now, am I saying Notre Dame, should they not be ranked at all? I think they should be, but I'm talking more like 23, 24, 25. They should not be ranked number 20, guys. I believe they are big time overrated. Well, not big time overrated, but just overrated. Notre Dame fans, let me know what you think. I know you'll come out in droves. Either you're going to love me for that or hate me for that. I know I'm probably going to rub a few fan bases the wrong way. I'm sorry. But as you can tell, I am a very objective, college football fan. Yes, I have a team that I root for. I am not a Homer Simpson. I'm not a Big Ten homer either. I'm just a guy who has a ton of love and passion for all things college football. It's a pleasure being here with you also. So now I have 3 teams that I don't think should be ranked at all, guys. I'll go through these kind of quick. Number 21, I love them. I mean, they're a story of the year in the Big Ten West division, my division where my Hawkeyes play within. But I don't think Illinois should be ranked now, guys. I mean, they're now 7-2, coming off an awful loss at home over the weekend against Michigan State. A Michigan State team that's coming off of a very, very tumultuous week after the brawl, the fight in the tunnel against Michigan in the Big House 2 weeks ago, down 8 players who've been suspended, and they go to Champaign and knock off then ranked number 15 Illinois. And the thing is, with Illinois' 2 losses, guys, they've come against 2 of the worst teams in the Big Ten. Michigan State and Indiana. I mean, Illinois, I'm glad you're back. I've got plenty of family and friends who are fighting Illini fans. But those 2 losses, I just don't think they should be ranked. And quite frankly, because of the wacky, wild Big Ten West and how bad it is, I just don't think any Big Ten West team should be ranked, guys, quite frankly. You know, they just shouldn't. So Illinois, I don't think you should be ranked. Number 23, Florida State. You're 6-3 overall. Yeah, you're coming off a good victory over the weekend on the road against your in-state rival, the Miami Hurricanes. But I don't know why this team is ranked either, guys. I mean, they have a huge win now. Opening week, they knocked off now ranked number 6 LSU, like I mentioned. So they've got that victory non-conference in their pocket. Very, very big-time impressive victory now, but that's really it. I mean, their best victory in the ACC, is it Miami? Is it Georgia Tech? I mean, their 3 losses have come against 3 ranked opponents within the ACC. They couldn't beat any of the upper echelon teams in their conference. They lost straight up against North Carolina State, Clemson, and Wake Forest. I don't know why this team is ranked either, guys. And yeah, they have a win over Duquesne in the non-conference, an FCS school. I mean, I don't see why the Seminoles are ranked either, guys. Please like, share, comment, subscribe about that. And finally, another team that shouldn't be ranked, number 24, Kentucky. I mean, they're 6-3 as well. I mean, is there some sort of quota that, hey, SEC, Big Ten, you have to have X amount of number of teams ranked in these rankings? Maybe there is. I don't know. But the Wildcats, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, yeah, they're coming off of a 21-17 victory over Missouri in Como over the weekend, a game that was back and forth that they probably very easily could have lost to Missouri, right? But 2 weeks before that, the week prior, they got shellacked, 44-6 against Tennessee. They got used and abused in every facet of that game. They lost at Ole Miss at the time, and they lost at home to South Carolina. I don't see why Kentucky's ranked either, guys. I just don't. I don't see what their profile says that shouts out to me, we deserve to be ranked. And that's also going with those previous 2 teams I mentioned, Illinois and Florida State. Now, a couple teams I think that should be ranked instead, Coastal Carolina, guys, the Chanticleers leading the Sun Belt, they're 8-1. They should be ranked. They do have a win over Marshall, who did defeat Notre Dame, as I just said. That's got to count for something, and they have a better record. And Liberty. Not the insurance, but the Liberty Flames. They're also 8-1, coming off a big win over the weekend against SEC team powerhouse. Well, maybe not powerhouse, but SEC opponent, Arkansas, I mean, remember, Liberty is a independent, guys, all right? And they knocked off the Razorbacks over the weekend. And actually, Liberty's won 6 straight games, guys, beating Arkansas and BYU in that stretch. Their only loss came by 1 point. 30, I think it was, 32 to 31? 32 to 31, 33, 32. It was a 1 point loss at number 19 Wake Forest at the time. So that one loss is nothing to hang your head about, all right? So, yeah, those are the 2 teams I think that should be ranked. Coastal Carolina and Liberty. Let me know what you think. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Let's get the banter, the conversation started. So that's really all I have to add about this week's updated rankings of the college football playoffs. Once again, my projected rankings I put these together, the top 10 this afternoon. I had number 10 Clemson, just as the committee did. Number 9 Alabama, the same as they did as well. Number 8 USC, just like the committee. Number 7 LSU, spot on with the committee members as well. Number 6 Oregon, just like the committee had. Maybe I should be a member of this committee, guys. What do you think? Number 5, I had Michigan. Number 4, Tennessee. Number 3, TCU. Number 2, Ohio State. And number 1, Georgia. So I was very close, guys. I mean, I almost nailed it. Almost 100% spot on. All right? And I think I've made a good case for why I believe my projections are a little bit more accurate. But what do I know? I'm just your average Joe Schmo college football fan. But looking at the current top 10, I'll wrap this up here. Give me a couple more minutes just to indulge the what ifs. You know, we all love talking about the what ifs. You know, this scenario, that scenario. Hey, if this happens in combination with that and this is what's going to happen. We love all these, right? Is it too early to start talking about these? Well, maybe, but still, I love it. So just looking at the top 10 currently, I mean, Oregon has 1 loss against Georgia. I mean, a neutral site against Georgia in Atlanta. I mean, if Oregon takes care of business, they've got to be in, guys. If they win out and bring home the Pac-12 championship, they've got to be in. I'm looking at here Tennessee sitting there with 1 loss. If they win out, are they going to be in position to get an at-large bid? They are, absolutely. But let's say Georgia goes undefeated, right? Let's say they go undefeated in the regular season, lose to LSU potentially in the SEC title game. Then you're going to take LSU more than likely, but are you going to take Georgia or Tennessee? I mean, it's these, oh man, because they did beat them head-to-head. I would think you'd have to take Georgia. But we've seen that not happen before, guys. I mean, a few years back when Penn State beat Ohio State straight up, went to the Big Ten title game and won it, but still the committee took a 1-loss Ohio State team over the team that beat them straight up head-to-head and had 2 losses on the year. Also, to LSU, guys, here's a big one. They've got 2 losses. And like I said, they have a little more work to do. I think they still have to prove a little bit more. Can they sustain the success? But let's say LSU runs the table. Let's say they win the SEC championship with 2 losses. Should they automatically go to the playoff? And I know this is going to wrinkle the feathers of the Tiger fans, but is it just written in stone? Is it chiseled that the SEC champion has to go? Because no matter what, the SEC champion, we're SEC, our shit don't stink. Do they automatically have to go? I don't think, it doesn't say that anywhere. Why does that have to happen? I mean, I've said this once. I think a 1-loss Pac-12 team, let's say it's USC, or if it's Oregon, who then would have 0 losses in the Pac-12, I think they have a better profile than LSU would. They would, to me. And let's say TCU loses this week against Texas, rebounds, and Texas would be a Not a bad loss. They're ranked. They're, I believe, 20 this week in the well. They're above that actually. They're in the late teens this week, so that would not be a bad loss for TCU. Let's say they would then rebound, win the Big 12 championship. Their profile is absolutely better than LSU's. They've played and defeated the most ranked teams this season, has the Horned Frogs. I mean, I think they would deserve to go over a 2-loss SEC champion LSU. I absolutely think they would. Alabama, I mean, could they went out and get a lot of help. LSU would have to lose 2 games, right? Ole Miss would have to lose, 2 more games? I mean, is it possible? Yes. But they win the SEC. Say, should they get in? No, they shouldn't. I mean, but I think a lot of people would push for them too because they are SEC champions. That's simply that. That can't. Now, yes, if it's the age of college football expansion, which is going to happen very shortly, 12 teams, yeah, absolutely. But with a 4-team playoff like right now, LSU and Bama, I don't think they should get in. They shouldn't. That's just me. Now, Michigan and Ohio State's another one, guys. I mean, I already said that one's going to play itself out on the field. But let's say Michigan beats Ohio State, all right? They don't have that signature non-conference victory. I already mentioned that. And then they go on and wax whoever wins the Big Ten West, which more than likely would happen. So Michigan's going to be in the playoff. They're in, no doubt, undefeated Big Ten champion. Now, what about a 1-loss Ohio State team that has a non-conference victory over Notre Dame, which looks much better now? Should a 1-loss Ohio State team get in over a 1-loss Tennessee or maybe a 1-loss Georgia? Potentially, I think. Or even a 2-loss LSU team who wins the SEC? There's a lot to know here, guys. I mean, some people would say, well, Ohio State's resume wouldn't be that good, and maybe not. But have you seen them play? All right, they are one of the 4 best teams in the nation, guys. And I think no matter what happens, they're going to make the playoff because of that. So there's a lot of cool scenarios that could play out. I mean, only time's going to tell, guys. But there's still plenty of football left. Stay tuned. We're not going to miss a single thing. It's going to come down to the wire. You're excited. I'm excited. And that wraps up tonight's very special episode. Thank you for all you've done for the show, your support, your time. None of this is possible without you, the Black and Gold family, all of you college football fans. Please subscribe, click the button, comment, like, share. Let's discuss. I can't wait to hear from each and every one of you. Give me time. I promise I will respond individually to each and every one of your comments. So until next time, look for my Week 11 preview and picks episode that should be posted here on the channel, the Black and Gold vlog, Thursday afternoon, early afternoon, late evening. It'll be coming your way. So until then, comment. I can't wait to see you then. Take care, best of luck, and thank you for joining me on this special episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. See you soon. Bye-bye.